when the bogan calls you a bogan, or the gronk calls you a gronk, but they don't know they're the gronk. Where did my beef with Mikey Lord start? Well, it started when Mikey Lord called someone a pedophile that wasn't a pedophile. That's where it started.
We saw, Mikey Lord and his interview a couple of weeks ago. He made a couple of derogatory comments. Your name came up quite a few times in that one as well. There's a clip going around where he basically called you a gronk. Didn't really go in much further detail than that. Like, what's your take on that? Like, what was your thought? Like, where did this beef and feud start with you and him?
Is this kind of like when the bogan calls you a bogan, or the gronk calls you a gronk, but they don't know they're the gronk, so they're calling you the gronk, but they're really the gronk? Anyway, it's like the chicken or the egg. Anyway, where did my beef with Mikey Lord start? Well, it started when Mikey Lord called someone a pedophile that wasn't a pedophile. That's where it started. Because for the people who are either tuning in for me or are first-time listeners or whatever, let me just paint you a picture. Let me paint you a word picture for a second. This is well, I call him a young man because I'm old as fuck, but this is a young fella who grew up wrestling at Hunter Valley Wrestling. Grew up wrestling for my brother. Grew up wrestling. My mother loved him. She loved him so much that there was still $10, $15 left in an envelope from selling his merch that she continued to fucking sell when he was in jail. That's how much she loved this guy. Still got it if you want it. That's how much of a gronk I am. Still got your fucking money, mate. Anyway, point being is that he then went on a journey. He went on a journey, and that journey sort of culminated when he's had a bit of a rough time on a tour with All Star Wrestling. And he's done some things, allegedly assaulted people, and just caused a general ruckus, which got him kicked off the tour. Cops were called to the venue. He fled the venue and went to what I'm allegedly told a local pub. I don't know. If I'm not getting the specifics right, please don't quote me because it's not the point. And whilst he was there, he decided to call the promoter of All Star a pedophile, and he's this and he's that and whatever. Which, by the way, none of it is true. None of it is true. None of it is remotely true. Okay. So myself, Brock, and a few other people basically said, man, look, if you're going to say something like that about somebody, it'll better be true, because shit like that sticks.
Yeah,
like that, it sticks, and it can affect people's lives outside of wrestling. It can affect people's relationships. It's if you accuse someone of something like this, you're always that guy who was accused of X, Y, and Z. That's not fair. And do you know what this terrible, terrible human being did to deserve to be called this terrible thing? Do you know what he did? The rooms he paid for these people to stay in, including Mikey Lord, were in someone else's pocket in another room while Mikey had to sleep somewhere else. Isn't that terrible? Doesn't that deserve to be called all these names under the sun?
Yeah.
Doesn't it? So
it's pretty dark.
So I'm being, if anyone can't tell if the sarcasm meter's on, I'm being pretty sarcastic here. So that's what he did. Okay. All the other stuff that happened, I'm not going to get into because it's not my life. I'm talking about the specific thing in which you're asking me about. He then got upset, right? He got upset about the fact that I said to my talent on a private chat, a private page, a private staff group, that if you're going to support Mikey Lord in any way, shape, or form, you may be unbooked from my show, because I'm not going to support this behavior in the wrestling. I can't control the things that I can't control, but what I could control, I said, if you guys, seriously, where the fuck are your morals? If you're going to support this behavior, I don't want to be associated with you, really, if I can avoid it. And that was screenshotted by someone on my personal staff page, which is a little disappointing, but it is what it is. And distributed to him. So what he's upset about and why I'm a fucking gronk is because I have a moral compass in which thought that his behavior was fucking terrible and he shouldn't be allowed to generate a profit or be a part of the industry in any way, shape, or form until he fucking works on himself and gets himself to a point where he's healthy and come back and do the good shit that you were fucking doing, because you're fucking good, mate. You are really good. But this stuff, this anger, this toxicity has controlled you so much you can't see past it. And then the only thing he said, he had been silent for 12 months, for a year. And then he decides to talk about it on your podcast. And he says, this is the thing that got me. I'm really sorry, guys. I'm sorry. But Mitch, hey, you fucked up too. It was like fucking Studio 54 from the 70s, mate, all the finger pointing going on. You know, and the thing is, that's not an apology, mate. That is not a fucking apology. Okay? Now, I'm going to continue talking about this just for a second, if that's okay. I'm going to park Mikey just to the right for a second, because I'm going to actually teach someone how to fucking apologize. This is how it's done, mate. If you watch it, Mikey Vendetta, I'm really sorry. I don't know your real name. I'm sorry. My apologies. Okay.
Rads.
Radecki. There you go. Sorry, I do know your name. Sorry, my apologies. In this post, I mentioned you. Okay, and that was based on information I had, and I really should have fact checked it, to be honest. Now, sincerely and from the bottom of my heart, I apologize. I shouldn't have mentioned your name. I shouldn't have associated you with Mikey Lord in that context, and I apologize. Okay, you're watching, dickhead. That's how you apologize. Now, the other thing I will say is, if you just apologize, Mikey, Anthony, seeing you like to name people's names on podcasts, Anthony, if you just apologize and fucking mean it, this will go away. People will forgive you. It will go away. Okay? I've been down some dark holes in my life, and I see a person who's in pain, a person struggling. Okay? And that's okay, mate. All right? I want you to know it's okay. Go and heal yourself. If you're not already, please go and heal yourself. If you're not off the drugs, get off the drugs. If you need to talk to someone, talk to someone. Get off the booze and go and heal yourself. Wrestling will be here when you get back, mate. All right? All of this negativity, toxicity, and calling people fucking names and messaging people, telling them you're going to fight them in the fucking car park and you're going to be at their training place every day that they're there. You don't need to do this. Fucking relax, center yourself, go get some help, and we'll be here when you get back, mate. All right? I don't want to talk about it anymore.
Yeah, fair enough, man. No, we can definitely move on from that. We did have one question there. Did you want to answer that one?
Yeah, what's the question?
Adam, how do you feel that Piers profiting off of Mikey Lord's story and his personal life? Well, I got nothing to hide. You can ask any question you want. What do you want to know?
How you going with all that sweet shooting the shit money, mate, from Mikey Lord's story? You got a book coming?
Oh yeah, dude. Like, it's next level, man. Like, the Patreon is blowing up now. Like, it's just fucking, it's ridiculous, man. That money, that payday is massive. Massive.
How do I feel about Piers profiting? Well, first of all, I'd like you to clarify profiting. And second of all, Mikey chose to come on a fucking podcast, not profiting money but not profiting money but publicity. Mikey chose and willingly came on a podcast to talk about his life and his issues, and he did that. to think that you can't put yourself in the public eye and people aren't going to have an opinion on that, especially when you fucking call out every motherfucker in fucking New South Wales while you're doing it and don't mean anything that you fucking say when you apologise, it's only natural that people are going to want to have something to say about it. Someone's going to want to, you know, respond. So, so I don't feel that Piers is profiting with publicity. I feel he's being very smart about getting people onto his podcast that people may want to listen to. And if it so happens to correlate with something that's been on before, so be it. Maybe don't get on podcast and call out every cunt in the fucking state. Don't know. Maybe make some of those smarter choices you were talking about, bro.
100%. And bro, this is what's funny, man. Like Millennium Man, you have no idea, bro. Like behind that, you have no idea, bro. I'm behind who was booked and not unbooked for nothing, bro. Like you're completely. You like, I'm not trying to attack you. I'm not trying to point you out, but you have no idea what you're talking about there, bro. Like that's behind the door shit that you have no fucking knowledge of.
Can I ask you a question, Piers? May I?
Sure, of course.
He raises a fair point. Mikey's been booked based on his controversial recent history on EWA. What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, my thoughts are like he was booked, but then unbooked. I think I don't even know the full story. I work for EWA, but I'm not heavily involved in the bookings of the show. I get contacted. It's like, this is what you're doing, you know, blah 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 blah, and I kind of keep that with most of the places that I work. You know what I mean? Like I don't try and get into any sort of group conversations about stuff that doesn't pertain to what I'm doing. So